You lie still, your breath slow and warm. The day has quieted, and in this hush, your body becomes something else, not just a shape, not just flesh and thought, but a place, a planet, a home. And you are not alone. From the moment you are born, even as you pass through your mother's body into the world, you are greeted by life, not loud, not visible, but countless. Bacteria from her skin, her breath, her milk, fungi floating on the air, viruses nestled in quiet corners. They find you, settle in, and stay, your first invisible companions. They are not invaders, they are citizens. You are their country. Imagine now your skin as a vast savanna, your mouth as a coral reef, your gut deep and winding, a rainforest teeming with life. Each fold of your body, each quiet crevice, holds a world that breathes beside you, not just surviving, thriving, a living ecosystem that has evolved with you, for you, within you. We call it the microbiome, a word that means tiny life home, and in every inch of you, it is alive. Inside your gut alone, there are trillions of microbes, more than all the stars in the galaxy, more than your own human cells. Some ferment your food, turning fiber into fuel. Others train your immune system, whispering to your defenses so they don't strike the wrong thing. Some even make your vitamins. Others still shape your mood, nudging your brain with signals that feel like feelings. You are not one being, you are a symphony. Think of a forest, rich with scent and life. The leaves drink sunlight, the roots talk beneath the soil, bees hum, birds stir, the soil breathes. And though the trees do not speak, together they make a kind of mind. So too, your microbiome, a forest turned inward. Their signals reach your brain through chemical whispers, through nerves that thread from gut to skull like secret telephone lines. You are never really alone in your body. You are shared, and yet they do not demand. They do not clamor. Their work is quiet, symbiotic. They help, they protect, they balance. Some are as old as your ancestors, passed down not in genes but in breath, in milk, in touch. You come from a long line of humans, yes, but also a long line of microbes. Every ancestor held their own forest, passed it on through birth, through living, and so the bacteria in you carry stories older than language, older than fire, older than memory itself. They've been with mammals since the very beginning, even before fur, before milk, before upright bones. Now lie here and feel your body as habitat. Your mouth a tide pool, salty and shifting. Your skin a dry meadow, under sun. Your intestines, dark and warm, like the forest floor, rich in mystery, rich in life. And yet we forget them. We treat ourselves as single, singular, sovereign. But you are not a lone self, you are a shared self. Even your mood may not be yours alone. When the microbes in your gut shift, your feelings often shift too. Some species make chemicals like GABA, serotonin, dopamine, the brain's gentle alchemy. When the balance is right, you feel stable, present, whole. But when the forest is disturbed by stress, diet, illness, your mental skies may darken, the winds may rise. It's not your fault, it's your forest, crying out. Imagine it now, walking through that inner world, trees of fiber, blooming with microbes, rivers of bile and enzymes, animals too small to see, nesting in the leaves of your colon, feeding on what you do not digest, and among them, peace, when the system is in harmony. But harmony is fragile, an antibiotic, a bomb in the forest, a week of poor sleep, a sudden frost, chronic stress, a dry season, long and withering. And yet the forest always tries to regrow, always seeks the balance again. Sometimes, just a breath of rest helps, a night of sleep, a bite of yogurt, rich with friendly bacteria, a meal with color and fiber, a walk under trees. You care for your inner world, the way you care for a garden, slowly, patiently, gently. There is no rush, no need for force. Your microbes respond to kindness. They crave rhythm. They thrive on diversity, not just in food, but in life. When you laugh with friends, your forest listens. When you breathe slowly, your vagus nerve carries the news, and the bacteria beneath your ribs soften their signals. They slow, they bloom. This is not magic, it is biology, tender and true. And so you begin to understand, your body is not just yours, it is an old world, a quiet planet, a rainforest curled beneath your ribs, listening to how you live. You are the host, and also the guest. Some scientists now believe that many modern illnesses, from anxiety to obesity, from autoimmune disorders to allergies, may have roots in a disturbed microbiome, an inner forest cut down by generations of processed food, sterilized environments, chronic stress. But like any wounded land, it can regenerate, given time, given breath, given care. Even now, as you lie here, change is happening. Inside you, microbes shift, speak, grow. Some are feeding on fibers from your dinner, turning them into healing acids. Others are calming inflammation. Some may even be dreaming with you, shaped by circadian light, by the lunar tides of your hormones. This is your beginning. The quiet moment when you start to see yourself not as alone, but as part of a greater inner ecology. You are not a body, you are a biome. And in this chapter, a door has opened, not outward, but inward, into the secret woods beneath your skin. The next question stirs gently now, like a wind through branches. If this is a forest, what lives there, and how do we listen? It begins with stillness, a quiet hum beneath the surface of your awareness, like the deep, slow vibration of an orchestra, tuning its strings. But this sound is not heard through ears, it is felt in the belly, like a warmth that pulses in rhythm with your life. Inside you, hidden away in the winding corridors of your gut, lives a population far greater than any city you've known. Trillions of microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, fungi, each no larger than a whisper, dwell here, forming an ancient community in constant dialogue. You are their planet, their forest, their home. They are not invaders, they are you. From the moment of your birth, they arrived through your mother's skin, her milk, the air, the world's first kiss upon your lips. They took root quietly, finding their niches along the vast stretches of your digestive tract. Some settled in the folds of your intestines, others near the stomach's acidic gates. Together they formed a system so elegant, so silently efficient, that you rarely noticed it at all. Each time you eat, they awaken. Fibers you cannot digest, they feast on them. Starches, plant skins, resistant compounds, your body passes them on, like a gift, to these tiny allies. And in return they break them down, unlocking nutrients, creating short-chain fatty acids that nourish your cells, soothe inflammation, and strengthen your inner walls. This is not digestion, it is cooperation, but digestion is only the overture. Listen closer, and you'll hear another melody beneath a line of defense. Like sentinels along a castle wall, some microbes stand guard, crowding out the more harmful ones. They produce substances gentle but firm that keep invaders from taking hold. They train your immune system, teaching it who to fight and who to befriend. Without them, the immune response is a wild animal, confused, reactive, inflamed. With them it becomes wise, discerning, balanced and calm, and deeper still, an unexpected harmony. From the gut, signals rise to the brain. Along the long, winding vagus nerve, a shimmering thread connecting your thoughts to your belly's depth. Microbes send neurotransmitters, like messengers, serotonin, dopamine, GABA. These are not just molecules, they are feelings, calm, joy, focus. The state of your mind, the mood of your day. They are composed, in part, by the voices of these microbes humming softly from within. You are not alone in your feelings. You are accompanied. Pause here. Take a slow breath. Can you sense them, the quiet, unseen chorus, moving with your breath, shifting with your meals, responding to your every choice? They do not demand attention. They respond to kindness. Sleep, movement, sunlight, they flourish in rhythm with your circadian clock. Whole foods, diverse plants, fermented treasures, these are their songs of nourishment. Antibiotics, stress, monotony, These strike discordant notes, silencing whole species, unraveling once rich tapestries of life. This ecosystem within is not static. It evolves day by day, shaped by the stories you live and the food you share. 1 week of change and the composition shifts. 3 months and a new symphony begins to emerge, but even now, it plays. Softly, ceaselessly. Some of these microbes have been with humans since the dawn of our species, others are newer companions, picked up through travel, touch, or food. They are ancient and modern, local and global, all converging in the space just beneath your ribs. Imagine them now, a vast forest beneath your skin. Sunlight filters through the canopy, or rather nutrients filtering from your bloodstream. Pathways twist and turn like root systems, microbes move gently, unseen animals of the underbrush. Some specialize in breaking down cellulose, others in synthesizing vitamins, like B12 and K2, each one small. But together a civilization, no one microbe leads, there is no conductor. And yet a symphony, if you listen without rushing, you might sense it. The rise and fall of microbial populations through the day, responding to your choices like dancers to music. The slight shift in composition after a change in sleep or mood. The resilience after a storm, a round of illness, or an upset stomach as they rebuild, reorganize, recommence. You are more than human cells. In fact, there may be more microbial genes in you than human ones. Does that make you less yourself, or more? You are not just one being, you are a chorus of many, and like any well-tuned orchestra, you function best not in silence, but in harmony. This is the hidden world inside you, a place of life, communication, and interdependence. A garden you tend without knowing, a song you sing without words. And when the balance is kept, when diversity flourishes, and nourishment flows, something extraordinary happens. You feel well. Not just the absence of illness, but a deeper sense of alignment, as if body and mind were agreeing, in soft invisible tones. It is not magic. It is biology, evolved through time, in exquisite cooperation. So tonight, as you rest, this inner world does not sleep. It continues digesting, protecting, feeling, responding. A lullaby in molecules. A symphony in silence, and as you drift towards sleep, a thought begins to form. If such complexity can arise in your gut, what other hidden worlds might live inside you? What other quiet systems sing their own secret songs, just beneath awareness? Could the brain too, that mysterious cathedral of thought, harbor its own symphony, vast and unknowable? Let us wander there next. Beneath the silence of your thoughts, another voice speaks. It is soft, rhythmic, the language of your inner ecosystem. Tiny microbes translate your world into mood, memory, calm, and through the winding gut, the brain listens and replies. Full chapter body, 1,200 words. You lie still, the weight of the day gently lifting. As you breathe in slow and deep, your body quiets, but inside something stirs, not in your head, not in your chest. Lower, in the vast winding tunnels of your gut. You may not feel it, but your gut is speaking, not with words but with pulses, with messengers, with whispered molecules. This isn't just digestion, it's a conversation, a soft, ongoing dialogue between brain and belly, echoed in the pathways of nerves and the chemistry of thought. Down there, in the folds of your intestines, live trillions of microbes, each one a little voice, each one a note in a grand biological symphony. Some are old friends, passed on since birth, others are newcomers, shaped by what you eat, how you live, even how you feel. Together, they form your gut microbiome, and their language. Neurotransmitters, tiny chemical messengers like serotonin, the feel-good signal that lifts your mood, like morning light, or GABA, a calming breath that hushes overactive thoughts. Here's the strange, beautiful truth. Most of your serotonin isn't made in your brain, it's made in your gut, in the gentle handshake between your cells and these microbes. They craft molecules that drift upward, carried along the vagus nerve, a superhighway between mind and belly. This nerve hums with two-way messages, as if your gut is writing quiet letters to your brain, and the brain in turn replies. A feedback loop, shaped by what you eat, how you sleep, and what you feel. Imagine you're holding a sponge. Press it gently. The pressure travels through its whole form. That's how mood and gut health are linked. Press one, and the other responds. Think of the gut as a second brain, not in thought, but in sensation and reaction. It doesn't think in sentences, but it knows. It knows when you're anxious and tightens. It knows when you're joyful and loosens. It knows when you're in danger and halts digestion, saving energy for survival. Now picture a tiny microbe round, floating in the warm folds of your intestine. Its world is chemical, fluid, responsive. It eats what you eat, thrives or falters on your choices. And in return, it crafts molecules, some calming, some stimulating, some inflammatory, some soothing. Like a gardener with invisible hands, this microbe and all its cousins tend your emotional soil. They prune stress, fertilize ease, and sometimes, if imbalanced, let weeds of anxiety grow. When the balance tilts too many unfriendly microbes, not enough diversity, the signals grow distorted. Like static on a phone call, your brain mishears the gut. Mood may dip, sleep may falter, the world may feel louder, faster, too much. But when the gut is well fed with fiber, nourished with color, eased by rhythm, the messages are clear. You feel more at home in your own skin. You may have noticed it before, the flutter in your belly when you're nervous, the sinking ache when something's wrong, the lightness when you laugh. These are not coincidences. They are gut feelings, literal, physical truths. Even stress has a flavor. Your microbes can taste. Stress can change their population, shift their outputs, make your gut leakier, more reactive. But calm is nourishing too. A slow walk, a deep breath, a single moment of gratitude. These ripple through your inner world, helping the good microbes grow strong. You are not one being, but a community, a living ecosystem wrapped in skin. The brain in your skull is brilliant, but so too is the quiet intelligence of your gut. Together they craft the full landscape of your feeling. Not just what you think, but how you feel what you think. So tonight, as you lie in stillness, imagine that unseen symphony, microbes, humming their molecular songs, the vagus nerve, glowing with signals, your brain, not alone, but in quiet partnership with your gut. You are being shaped, gently, by this dialogue, a relationship as old as your life itself, a partnership that can grow stronger with every slow meal, every mindful breath, every kind thought. Because when you take care of your gut, you are not just feeding digestion, you are tending your mind, feeding joy, softening stress, creating space for peace to bloom. And in this delicate exchange, there's something almost magical. You are both sender and receiver, both host and guest. You are the conversation itself. Breathe in, feel the stillness, feel the warmth in your belly, not just fullness but life. The microbes are listening, the brain is listening, and in the silence between them, something stirs a kind of inner harmony, not loud but real, not forced but flowing. And maybe, just maybe, this quiet partnership is what peace truly feels like. Beneath your ribs, a silent intelligence pulses, lined with more neurons than the wildest of wings. This second brain hums ancient lullabies, feeling before you speak, knowing before you think. Tonight, we descend into the quiet wisdom of your gut. Full chapter body, 1,200 words. You lie still, soft beneath the weight of the night, and your breath begins its quiet rhythm. In the hush of your chest and belly, a world stirs, not loud, not boastful, but very much alive. Deep inside your abdomen, behind the curtain of skin and tissue, rests something remarkable. A brain, not the one you cradle in your skull, but another, older, quieter, and curved around the long, winding tunnel of your gut. Scientists call it the enteric nervous system, but you might call it your second mind, It's made of over 500 million neurons. That's more than in a cat's brain, enough to reason, enough to remember, enough to feel. This brain doesn't dream. It doesn't make decisions about taxes or schedules. It doesn't craft poetry or design spacecraft, but it knows. It knows in a way that is earthy and intimate, woven into the rhythm of your digestion and the silent ballet of your cells. You don't need to tell it what to do. It rolls food into motion, extracts nutrients, commands enzymes, and signals fullness or hunger like a long-forgotten language. It's a system that evolved long before conscious thought, before logic and language and math, back when staying alive meant being in perfect tune with the world around and inside you. This second brain, nestled within your gut, speaks a language of waves and pulses. Electrical signals and chemical whispers pass from one neuron to the next, creating patterns not so unlike the dance of thought in your head. Imagine a forest path where creatures signal each other with flickers of light and tremors in the soil. That's how your enteric nervous system operates, in pulses of serotonin, in ripples of acetylcholine, in waves of electrical charge that move not just food but feeling. Because this brain doesn't only manage digestion, it also listens and it speaks back. When your mind feels anxious, your gut tightens. When you're calm, it loosens its grip. When danger creeps near a stressful thought, a painful memory, your gut responds before you even know it. It's as if this second brain can sense emotional weather before your conscious mind catches up. You've felt it before: the fluttering belly before a speech, the hollow ache of grief, the churn of uncertainty. Your gut doesn't just digest, it emotes. It's part of your story, and it's not a solitary character. The enteric nervous system sends signals to your brain through the vagus nerve, a long winding communication channel, like a gentle river of information. More signals travel up from the gut to the brain than the other way around. That's important. That means your belly tells your brain how to feel, not the other way around. You are not ruled only by thoughts born in your head. You are shaped by sensations that rise like mist from the deep valleys of your gut. Even your immune system listens in. Nearly 70% of your immune cells live alongside your enteric neurons. They trade messages, form alliances, pass notes in the language of molecules. Your gut, your second brain, is both watchman and diplomat, a mediator between your inner world and the world outside. And there, nestled among all these neurons and cells, live trillions of tiny life forms, your gut microbiome. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, invisible guests that feast and ferment and flourish. They help produce neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. They influence mood, memory, even how you respond to fear. You are not just one being, you are many, a symphony of selves, sharing space in a body that feels, thinks, and digests all at once. Let's imagine it now, the inside of your belly as a glowing bioluminescent reef. Neural currents pulse through coral-like folds of the intestinal wall. Microbes drift like fireflies. Signals arc between neurons like lightning in slow motion. Enzymes shimmer like plankton. And all of it, working in silence beneath your awareness to keep you steady. When you feel safe, the gut softens, it trusts, it opens. Your digestion flows like a calm river. Nutrients are absorbed. Tensions are released. This is the dance of rest and repair, the rhythm of well-being. But when your world feels uncertain, a threat, even imagined, your second brain notices. It tightens the gut, slows digestion, prepares for survival. It's not thinking in words, but in instincts passed down from creatures who once had to run, freeze, or fight just to live another day. You might think of it as primitive, but in truth, it is exquisite. The gut doesn't judge, it responds. It does not lie. It alerts. Long before your brain can process a thought, your gut has already reacted. And slowly the two minds learn to speak to each other. The more you listen, the more you sense their conversations. That heaviness after bad news. That openness when you trust someone. That gurgling stillness when you feel at peace. Your gut remembers. The neurons in your belly can be shaped by trauma or comfort. They form patterns. They learn safety. They anticipate threat. That's why healing isn't only in your head. It's in your belly too. Breathe in. Feel that warm tide of motion in your middle, that quiet murmur of peristalsis, that soft kneading of life itself. Breathe out. Feel the wisdom of your second brain, not judging, just moving, just being. Like a quiet oracle, its messages are clear only when you slow down enough to listen. So tonight, let this be your invitation to rest not only your thinking mind, but your feeling one too. To trust that beneath your thoughts another intelligence is always watching, always working. A quiet guardian that holds your story not in words but in waves of sensation and silent knowing. And as you drift deeper into the night, you begin to wonder about the tiny creatures that live inside you, not neurons now, but microbes. Do they speak to this second brain too? And if they do, what stories do they tell? You begin in silence, floating in the warm, fluid hush of your mother's womb. Your world is slow and muted. Your heartbeat echoes like a distant drum. The rhythm of your developing self. Here you are mostly alone, your body, untouched by the microbial life that coats the world outside. For 9 months, you grow in this pristine cocoon, a near-sterile sanctuary shaped by ancient design. But birth changes everything. As you are born, pushed gently or pulled swiftly into the bright air, your first breath is not just air, it is laden with life. Microscopic life. Bacteria from your mother's vaginal canal, or from her skin if you were born by cesarean, rush in to meet you. They settle on your skin, your mouth, your eyes. They begin to coat your body with invisible purpose. In these earliest moments, you are colonized. Not by invaders, but by guests, ancient allies, whose roots in our biology run deeper than memory. They come from your mother's body, from the room, the nurses, the warmth of a father's hands, and most powerfully from her chest. When you find her breast, whether by instinct or gentle guidance, you are fed more than milk. Her colostrum, that first thick golden drop, is rich with immune messengers and protective sugars, designed not only to nourish you, but to feed the microbes now beginning to bloom in your gut. These sugars, known as human milk oligosaccharides, are indigestible to you, but not to them. They are, in a sense, love letters written to bacteria, and these bacteria in turn help teach your body what is friend and what is foe. You do not yet think, but already you are learning. Your immune system, immature but hungry to understand the world, begins to take cues from these microbial teachers. This, they say, is normal. This is safe. Without them, your defenses would flail blindly. With them, your body begins to sort the world into meaning. Skin-to-skin contact, those first warm hours, pressed against your mother's chest, matters more than we once knew. Her skin delivers you not only comfort, but colonies of microbes carefully shaped by her own history. They are drawn to the warmth of your skin, the scent of your newborn body. She holds you and her microbes hold you too. If you are breastfed, the process continues in waves. Each feed, each snuggle, is a microbial exchange. With every swallow, your gut becomes a garden. Different species take root, depending on how you are fed, who holds you, what touches your mouth. These first few months are a time of wild blooming inside you, as communities begin to form deep in your intestines. You are still new to the world, but inside, ecosystems are already thriving, and they are not random. The types of bacteria that first settle in your body are shaped by evolution. They are old friends of our species, passed down not just genetically, but physically, person to person. The microbes in your mother's gut and breast milk are descendants of those passed to her by her mother, and so on, echoing backward through time. It is a quiet inheritance, but no less vital than eye color or blood type. As you grow, your world expands. You begin to crawl, to mouth objects, to explore each action, introducing new microbial species. Your microbiome diversifies, becoming more resilient, more complex. But the seeds were planted at birth, in those first messy, miraculous moments when your sterile solitude ended and the microscopic world said hello. And just like that, you are never alone again. Inside your gut, a vast invisible forest begins to grow. Trillions of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and archaea take up residence along your digestive tract. Each has a role. Some ferment fibers, others synthesize vitamins, still others help maintain the fragile barrier between your gut and the rest of your body. Collectively, they are known as your microbiome, but they are more than that. They are part of you. The balance of this inner ecosystem is delicate. Breast milk continues to shape it. Touch and warmth help regulate it. Even your sleep cycles and the light filtering through your eyelids can sway it. You are being wired, inside and out, by the rhythm of connection. It is a quiet choreography, your body and your microbes learning to coexist in peace. By the end of your first year, your microbiome resembles a miniature rainforest, diverse, stable, and tailored uniquely to you. It will continue to evolve for years, affected by diet, environment, illness, and even emotion, but the blueprint has been laid. This story is not just biological. It is emotional, relational. Your microbes are not passive passengers. They shape your moods, influence your cravings, guide your immune responses, and perhaps even whisper into the chambers of your mind. They are your inner companions, shaped by every hug, every drop of milk, every breath you've taken since birth. And so the journey begins, not just of you, the individual, but of this shared identity between human and microbe. You are singular, yes, but also a colony, a living constellation of cells and symbionts, each with its own rhythm, each contributing to the harmony of your body's song. You do not remember your first breath, your first feed, the first time a bacterium took shelter in your gut, but their descendants remember. They have stayed, multiplied, evolved with you. In a world full of noise, they remain your constant choristini, ancient, always singing softly inside you. Perhaps if you could quiet your thoughts enough, you might almost hear them, a hush beneath the hum of your being. A memory that isn't quite yours, but belongs to the part of you that is not you. And yet, and in that stillness, another question rises. If these microbes shaped your beginning, what else might they shape as you grow? Close your eyes. Let the outside world dissolve into stillness. As the room darkens, a quieter rhythm awakens inside, a conversation far older than language, spoken between your gut and your brain, deep within your belly, beneath layers of organs and soft tissues. Lives a world not entirely your own, trillions of tiny life forms too small to see, but impossible to ignore, hum with quiet activity. These microbes, your gut's permanent residents, are more than silent passengers. They are communicators, chemists, and night watchmen, whispering chemical lullabies or sounding silent alarms. Tonight, we listen to their whispers. The connection between your gut and your brain is more intimate than most lovers. A two-way river of signals flows through the vagus nerve, a thick cable of neurons stretching from the base of your skull to the folds of your intestines. It pulses with instructions, sensations, and updates from your second brain, a nickname your gut has rightly earned. And at night, when you try to sleep, their symphony plays on. You lie in bed, hoping for silence. But stress, like an unseen guest, lingers. Your thoughts echo louder than the room. What you may not realize is that your gut hears this tension too. Stress doesn't stop at the mind, it travels. It stirs hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which wash through your bloodstream and splash into the gut, altering the terrain. These biochemical tides can weaken the protective lining of the intestine, disturb your microbiome, and provoke inflammation. In response, your gut shifts its chemistry, sending feedback upward, sometimes with anxiety, sometimes with unease, sometimes with sleeplessness. You may feel it as butterflies, or tightness, or just a sense of not being able to let go. Sleep depends on a balance not only of neurotransmitters like melatonin and serotonin, but also of the microbial orchestra that helps conduct them. And here's the wonder, over 90% of the body's serotonin, a key ingredient in sleep regulation, is produced not in the brain, but in the gut. When your microbes are nourished and balanced, they support this chemical production like skilled musicians reading from a practiced score. But when your inner ecosystem falls out of tune, when inflammation, poor diet, or chronic stress take root, the melody changes. Some microbes vanish, others overgrow, and suddenly the gut sends a different message, one that may say, all is not well. Sleep, always the sensitive listener, begins to retreat. You turn from side to side, unaware of this microbial turmoil. Your brain searches for calm, but the signals it receives from below are confused, dysregulated, even chaotic. It struggles to find the rhythm of rest. This is the hidden link between gut health and sleep. Your microbiome, like a gentle librarian, catalogues information about what you eat, how you feel, and when you rest. In return, it influences how well you drift into dreams, and so, nurturing your gut becomes more than a dietary act. It becomes a ritual of restoring peace within. Foods rich in fiber feed your good bacteria, the ones who hum lullabies to your nervous system. Fermented foods, with their probiotic gifts, repopulate the diverse communities that help keep inflammation at bay. Prebiotics like garlic, leeks, and oats are offerings of comfort to your microbial guests. Even how you eat matters. Eating slowly, mindfully, allows digestion to unfold in a parasympathetic state. The body's rest and digest mode. It tells your gut, there is no danger here. You are safe to relax. This in turn tells your brain the same. Beyond food, the gut also listens to movement. A slow walk after dinner, gentle yoga, breathing deeply into your belly. These are not just acts of self-care, they are signals. Whispers sent down the vagus nerve, calming the entire system, reminding every cell that nighttime is not a threat, but a sanctuary. And when you sleep, your gut doesn't stop. It cleans, recalibrates, restores. Certain microbes grow more active in the dark, processing nutrients, repairing tissue, communicating with immune cells. Sleep and gut health are partners in an ancient dance, each one shaping the other, night after night. But what happens when this balance breaks? When insomnia becomes familiar? When you wake in the early hours, heart racing, thoughts spinning? Sometimes, the cause is not psychological alone, it may be microbial. Studies now show that disrupted microbiomes, those lacking diversity or populated with pro-inflammatory strains, are linked to sleep disorders. In mice and in humans, the same pattern emerges. Gut imbalances correlate with changes in sleep architecture. The deep, restorative phases of sleep grow shorter. REM sleep becomes irregular. The body struggles to reset. And so tending to your microbiome becomes an act of compassion not just for your gut, but for your entire being. It is slow medicine. Gentle, cumulative. Not a quick fix, but a quiet invitation for balance to return. You do not need to understand every microbe to begin. You only need to listen. To your cravings. To your reactions. To your sleep. When your dreams become elusive, ask your gut what it might need. Water. Rest from sugar or alcohol. A little more rhythm, a little less rush. The body is always speaking, but the gut speaks in waves and whispers, not in words. Tonight, as you lie here, picture them. The tiny communities in your belly, settling into stillness, feeding, repairing, singing. You are not alone in this moment. Inside you, the work of rest has already begun. And as your gut gently rewrites the script for sleep, it also sends a final note to the brain. A message softened by time, nourishment, and care. It's okay to let go now. The night is safe, the healing is underway. You sit in stillness. A quiet moment before a meal. The plate before you is more than ingredients. It is more than calories or taste. It is a message, a soft-spoken poem addressed not just to you but to the trillions of silent companions that live within. The food you choose is their language, their sustenance, their song, a piece of fruit perhaps, a crisp apple. Beneath its skin, pectin, a kind of fiber you cannot digest, but your microbes can. To them it is a feast. As the apple passes your lips and begins its descent, your body starts the slow process of breaking it down. But not all of it is meant for you. Some of it travels farther, lower beyond your stomach's acid and into the winding garden of your colon. And there, in the rich darkness, the feast begins. Fiber. You've heard the word many times, but tonight it has a new tone. Picture it not as roughage, but as a gift. Soluble fibers dissolve and weave into gel-like tapestries, moving slowly, offering grace to digestion. Insoluble ones pass sturdily through, like scaffolding that keeps things moving, orderly. But both speak to your microbes. They gather like guests at a long table, drawn to the banquet you've offered. Bacteroides, firmicutes, Archimenzia, unfamiliar names, perhaps, but these tiny creatures know you intimately. They bloom and multiply when you feed them well. When you give them what they love, colorful vegetables, whole grains, legumes, they reward you with gifts of their own. Short-chain fatty acids, biturate, acetate, propionate. These are not just chemical names, they are messages in return. They calm inflammation. They whisper peace to your immune system. They travel upward, too, through blood and nerve, and quietly reach your brain. You do not think of broccoli as emotional nourishment, but in truth, it may be. Fermented foods tell a different story. Yogurt, kimchi, miso, kefir. These are not just flavors. They are living messages, cultures, both literal and figurative. With each bite, you invite ancient allies to join you. Lactobacillus, bifidobacterium. You swallow them whole, and if they survive the acidic gates of your stomach, they settle for a while inside you. Some stay, others pass through. But even the visitors matter. They bring balance, remind your native microbes of harmony, diversity, rhythm. Imagine your gut like a forest. The more varied the species, the healthier the ecosystem. One plant does not make a jungle. One microbe does not make a resilient microbiome. And food diverse, plant-rich, whole, is the sunlight that keeps this forest alive. There's beauty in the slow unfolding of this truth, that even your cravings, those sudden hungers, those emotional desires, are part of this quiet conversation. Sometimes they come from the microbes themselves, nudging you toward what they want. Sugar, perhaps. Fat. They can influence your appetite through subtle chemical whispers, but when you feed them well, their voices soften, balance returns. And when you eat mindfully, slowly with attention, something else unfolds. Digestion begins not in your mouth, but in your awareness. The sight, the scent, the first taste, it all signals your brain, which signals your gut. Hormones respond. Enzymes awaken. Even the microbes anticipate. Every bite becomes a bridge between the outer world and your inner world. But not all food speaks gently. Ultra-processed meals, heavy in emulsifiers and artificial sweeteners, confuse the conversation. They disrupt the dialects your microbes understand. Some die off. Others grow in unnatural dominance. Inflammation rises, communication frays. Still, the body is forgiving. The forest remembers how to grow back. Each day, each meal, is a chance to rewrite the dialogue, to offer kindness again. Tonight, let's imagine what that might feel like. A bowl of lentils, soft, warm, and rich in resistant starch. Your microbes rejoice. A handful of almonds, their fiber and polyphenols fuel diversity. A spoonful of sauerkraut, tangy and alive, and water clear, simple and flowing, like the stream that nourishes roots underground. This isn't about restriction or rules, it's about relationship, a partnership with the unseen, and a remembering that food is more than fuel, it is language, ritual, medicine, connection. In feeding your microbes, you are not separate from nature, you are part of it. A walking ecosystem, a conscious habitat. Every meal is an offering to that relationship. Let's linger here a moment longer, imagining a future in which you eat not just with hunger, but with reverence. Where meals are not hurried, not background noise, but sacred pauses. Where you chew slowly and feel the life within the food and the life within you, meeting mid-bite in silent understanding. Your gut listens, and in turn it speaks. It speaks through moods that stabilize, through sleep that deepens, through anxiety that softens, through energy that flows more gently. It's not always immediate. Healing takes time. Microbes shift gradually, but with consistency, with variety, with color, with fiber and ferment, you teach your inner world how to thrive again. And you begin to notice the sharp edges of your day smooth out. Your breath deepens. Your thoughts feel less tangled. This is not magic. It is biology, wrapped in poetry. You are not feeding yourself alone. You are feeding a world, and in this world, peace begins with something as simple, as profound, as your next bite. Let it be thoughtful. Let it be kind. Let it be fluent in the quiet language your body remembers. Let it speak to what comes next. You drift inside the body, a familiar passage, but tonight, the stillness feels off. Not broken, not yet, just a ripple where once there was calm, the symphony of microbes. Those millions of unseen musicians once hummed in synchrony, but now their rhythm feels skewed. The violins screech, the cellos mutter, the flutes fall silent. Something or someone is out of tune. Dysbiosis, they call it, a gentle-sounding word for a quiet unraveling. It begins subtly, a puff of stress here, a sugar-laced indulgence there, a course of antibiotics with noble intent but unknowing consequence. Day by day, the crowd within you shifts not in number, but in character. The helpful guests grow weary or move on. In their place come the loud, the pushy, the less harmonious strains. They bring with them more than digestive woes. They bring mood swings, foggy thoughts, sleepless nights, and you feel it not just in your belly, but in your being. Your gut, once a warm cradle of calm, now crackles with static. You notice the changes, irritability that flares without reason, a sadness you can't name, an anxious flutter behind your ribs. You wonder if you're just tired, or sensitive, or maybe it's all in your head. But no, it's also in your gut. Your microbiome, that once lush garden, has lost its equilibrium. Picture a rainforest gone dry, birds missing, vines brittle, the hum of life replaced by silence and ash. That's what imbalance feels like inside a land of faded whispers where there was once vibrant chatter. The science speaks of overgrowth, not of weeds, but of certain bacteria that thrive in chaos. They eat differently. They feed on sugars and stress, releasing byproducts that travel through your bloodstream, knocking gently or firmly on the gates of your brain. The gut-brain axis lights up, and now, what was once a garden is a message board lit with red alerts. But dysbiosis isn't just physical, it speaks to the emotional body as well. It tells stories of childhood antibiotics, of stressful jobs, of erratic meals and forgotten rest. It's a mirror, showing you the moments you hurried past yourself, and in that reflection, healing begins. Because here's the secret, imbalance is not a punishment, it's a signal, a soft chime that calls you back. You begin to listen, you soften your meals, warm broths, slow-cooked vegetables, fermented foods that whisper of ancient ways. You rest more, breathe more. You reach for the bitter greens and the golden turmeric. You let sunlight kiss your skin, and laughter return to your bones. And slowly, your microbial orchestra stirs, not all at once, not perfectly, but like a sleepy choir remembering its tune. You read about psychobiotics, probiotics that may ease anxiety, about prebiotics that feed your good bacteria like tender kindling under a new fire. You learn that healing is not a straight road, but a winding trail through awareness. Some days are clearer, others are stormy, but you walk it anyway. You become aware of triggers, not just food, but thoughts, environments, even people. Some conversations you realize bring your gut to life while others leave it knotted. You begin to trust the feeling in your belly, the intuition of your microbes. You let your gut vote in decisions. This healing isn't loud, it's not the kind that shouts, it's the kind that hums slowly, surely, like roots growing back into earth. You start to notice moments of ease again, sleep deepens, tears come and go without explanation, your laughter feels more real, and inside you, the garden regrows. The idea of you stretches, expands. You are no longer a lone being but a host, a village, a walking ecosystem. You carry multitudes, and with that knowledge comes humility and care. You begin to move differently in the world. You eat not just for taste but for communion. You pause not just for breath, but for balance. You speak gently to others, yes, but especially to yourself. Because now you know your microbes are always listening. Dysbiosis, once a source of suffering, becomes a compass. It shows you where you veered off course and how to return, not through punishment, but presence, not through rigidity, but rhythm. You wonder now what else these microbes affect. If they can shape your mood, could they also influence your dreams, your courage, your love? You're not sure yet, but curiosity stirs again. Somewhere inside, harmony begins to reweave its threads. The orchestra is still tuning, still adjusting, but there is hope in their silence, a quiet promise that with care, the music will return. And as you drift in this thought, a new question begins to rise. If the gut holds such power over mind and mood, what happens when we explore how this connection shapes the way we feel, not just inside our bodies, but in our lives? Let's follow that question next. You begin again, not with a plan, but with a breath, a slow inhale, a soft exhale. The rhythm is gentle, like the tide arriving home to shore. Somewhere deep inside, beneath thought and bone and blood, your inner ecosystem listens. It's not asking for perfection, just balance. And balance, as you will come to feel, begins in the pauses. Let's walk here for a while, not to fix, but to understand. Rebalancing your microbiome is less like rewiring a machine, and more like tending a forest. Not every tree needs pruning. Not every leaf needs fussing. Some things just need space to grow wild again. You start with rest. In the silence of deep sleep, while the world hushes around you, your gut becomes a quiet workshop of repair. Beneficial bacteria flourish in these nocturnal hours. Their subtle labor like moonlight on dew, unseen but necessary. They mend, regulate and recalibrate the symphony within. When you sleep well, your gut remembers how to trust the rhythm of your body, and so you let yourself drift. You treat sleep not as a luxury but as communion, a reunion between the conscious and the cellular, and each hour you give to sleep is like handing your microbes a peace offering. Here, you can begin again. Then you breathe, not the shallow, hurried breath of daily worry, but the slow, belly-deep breath that massages your vagus nerve, that great wanderer of calm, running like a gentle river between your brain and your gut. When you breathe mindfully, you lower inflammation, you slow the release of stress hormones, you make the internal world feel less like a battlefield and more like a sanctuary. In this quiet state, your microbiome responds. Some microbes bloom in calm, some fade in stress. Your breath becomes a compass. Where it goes, healing follows. You begin to feel this interconnectedness in small moments. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the grounded crunch of leaves underfoot, the subtle satisfaction of sitting near someone you love without saying a word. Touch, too, becomes medicine. Science speaks now of how physical connection, a hug, a hand on your shoulder, stimulates oxytocin, quiets the nervous system, and sends signals of safety. Even this affects your gut, because in safety the body ceases its alarms. The gut no longer prepares for danger, and instead returns to balance. Bacteria like us flourish in peace, and then there is food. But this chapter is not about restriction, it is about reverence. You place a blackberry in your mouth and chew slowly. You taste the bitter, the sweet, the seeds. You imagine the journey this fruit has taken, from soil to sun to your hand. It is not just nutrients, it is information. You chew and enzymes greet it. Your gut lights up with recognition. Fiber feeds your microbes. Polyphenols whisper messages of healing. Fermented foods offer reinforcements like tiny allies sent from another village. This is eating not to control but to commune. You begin to think of eating as conversation. Every meal, a gentle dialogue. You listen to how your body responds, and in doing so your microbes learn too. Together you adapt. Together you heal, and sometimes the best nourishment is to do nothing at all. You fast not for trend or pressure, but as a sacred pause, a space between, and in that space your gut house cleanse. Autophagy, the beautiful act of cellular renewal, begins. Old parts are recycled, new signals are sent, the forest floor is swept clean. You walk outside, into trees, into sunlight, into the gentle hum of something more ancient than language. The soil beneath your feet is alive with microbes. Cousins, ancestors, companions to your own. When you garden, hike, or even breathe in the scent after rain, you participate in this microbial reunion. Your gut in turn responds with a quiet sigh. This is where I belong, it says. You start to notice that healing was never only inside you, it's in the relationships you nurture, in the slowness you allow, in the ways you let your senses anchor you to the world. A moment of stillness becomes medicine. A laugh shared becomes healing. A deep stretch, a warm bath, a tear released, all part of the ritual, all part of the ecosystem learning to trust itself again. And so you return not to a perfect gut, but to a gut that is supported, not to control, but to harmony, not to a cure, but to a companionship with your own body. The path of rebalancing is not linear. It circles back, weaves sideways, pauses often. Like the seasons, it knows the wisdom of cycles. Like the forest, it understands that growth sometimes comes after stillness, sometimes after decay. You are not separate from this rhythm, you are part of it. And your microbes, these silent collaborators, respond to every choice with curiosity. They are not demanding, they are simply waiting, waiting for rest, waiting for stillness, waiting for you to remember that you are not a machine to fix, but a living, breathing ecosystem to tend. And as you stand quietly in this new knowing, a soft question begins to form. If your gut can be reshaped by care, what else within you is quietly waiting to change? You breathe, you pause, and the next chapter, waiting just beyond the curve, asks something even deeper. What stories are these microbes telling the mind? Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. You are still, but within you, life stirs. Not just your heartbeat or the quiet pulse of breath, but an unseen gathering of tiny companions, an ecosystem, ancient and wise, tucked gently inside your skin. They are not visitors. They are not other. They are you. Trillions of microbes, bacteria, fungi, archaea, each with their own shape and rhythm, form a kind of forest across your body, rooting deep in the folds of your gut, climbing the soft walls of your nose, weaving quietly through the film of your skin. Picture it now, your belly as a vast shaded valley where microbes nest, like birds in trees. Your skin as a sun-dappled glade, home to bustling villages of microscopic life. You are not a single being, you are a landscape, you are a world, and this world is alive with communication. In the silent corridors of your intestines, your microbes send messages in chemical script, whispers of serotonin, of dopamine, soft lanterns passed from cell to cell, guiding your feelings, nudging your moods. That strange sadness that comes with the changing seasons, that warmth in your chest after laughter, even the calm that settles when you hold someone's hand, all of it, touched by the hands of your unseen residents. They don't control you, they co-create you. Like a grove shapes the wind, or a river carves the stone, your microbes shape your emotional landscape with slow, ancient artistry. You have always felt them in your hunger and satiety, in your sleep and your wakefulness, in the quiet comfort of a full belly, or the churning unrest when nerves bloom in your gut. Science calls your belly the second brain, but it's more like a wise elder, sitting in the center of your being, listening to stories from the microbes and translating them into feeling. You carry their history. Each breath you've taken, each food you've eaten, each hand you've held, has added to the chorus inside you. This is not a static community. It learns, it adapts, it remembers. Some microbes came from your mother, passed on in the warmth of birth or breast milk. Others arrived later, brought in through soil, through animals, through kisses, through the air itself, and slowly over years, your body became their home, and they in turn began shaping your home. They help digest your food, they protect your gut lining like sentries on ancient walls. They teach your immune system what to fear and what to accept with open arms. Even now, as you lie still, they are cleaning, sorting, balancing, keeping inflammation at bay, nudging your brain toward calm so you can rest, deeply and safely. You don't feel them, but they are always there, like the trees that filter the air or the fungi that knit the soil beneath your feet. And just like in any forest, balance is key. Too much of one species, and harmony shifts, a loss of diversity, and the canopy thins. Your inner ecosystem depends on richness, on relationships, on quiet symbiotic dance. So when you eat, you don't just feed yourself, you feed them the fiber, the polyphenols, the fermented delights, each one a gift to your microscopic kin. And when you sleep, they work, repairing, calming, resetting. Even dreams may be shaped by them, nudged by molecules, drifting up from your gut, tugging gently on the strings of memory. In this way, you are never alone, even in silence, even in darkness. You are accompanied by a million voices, each one humming a lullaby of life. There is peace in knowing this, that your body is not a fortress but a forest, that you are not sealed off, but open and interwoven. You are a network, a system, a song composed of many instruments. You are soil and star, bark and breath, neuron and mycelium, gut and galaxy. And even now, as your breath slows and your thoughts begin to soften, your forest keeps living, keeps listening, keeps whispering stories from root to crown. So much of you is not you alone, but that's the wonder, isn't it? To be a home, to be shared, to be shaped and shaping. You are not just a person, you are an ecosystem walking upright, a mobile planet wrapped in skin, with weather patterns of emotion, and tides of thought. And perhaps this is the deeper lesson carried in the folds of your gut, that life is always a chorus. That harmony comes from connection, not from control. So tonight, as your thoughts begin to blur, and your body sinks into stillness, hold this truth like a seed in your hand. You are a walking forest, you are never truly alone. And sleep is just another way the forest breathes.